Basically is a chip that that powers down, not powers down, that okay, let's start this again. No, let's start again. Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to another video. So the video today is on this 2014 Ford Focus with the 1.6 petrol engine, Ecoboost, and I'm having to record this introduction again because I've actually recorded something at the start about that Insignia, and I really thought that the guy didn't want to fix it, but the guy actually wants to, so I think I'm going to keep all the footage I've done for that yesterday, and we're going to carry on from where we left. Anyway, that's not about the Insignia, it's about this. What's the problem with this? The problem with this is that apparently, according to what I was told, sometimes, more often than not, there is a light coming on and the car loses power. The guy could, well, this was dropped in about 2 weeks ago, and I could swear the guy told me that the light that comes on is the ESP light. There's no lights at the moment. The guy actually, when he dropped me the car, he said that the light just went off before he arrived here. How convenient. But yeah, that's why he said. So what I'm going to do for now is quickly connect the maxi-Cs, see if there's any codes that start us to point us in any direction, and then we might have to go for a test drive and see exactly what the car does. Okay, and I was not recording, but this was actually interesting. So I've started the car in order to turn on that, because after the key on for a little bit, that turns off, and the tool was waiting for that to scan the front module. And I've started the car, and the car started to run really funny. ESP light came on and the car shut off. So definitely something here. Let me try to start it again to see if he does the same. It would be interesting if he does the same. It was the first time I've seen doing this. Engine service now. It definitely was left with the default. So I did an auto scan, 3 modules came back with faults. Let's quickly wrong module. Let's quickly just check what's on the BCM, because I don't think the BCM will have anything to do with these, but you never know. Let's just quickly check. So it's running okay for now. I've started the car this morning to move it from where the Insignia was, or is, to move it to here, and the car started fine. I only drove it up to here, only a few meters, but was fine. No funny noise, no nothing. And now literally when I started it this time, it really started to run really funny, like shaking sort of, and as I said, ESP light came on and the engine just shut down. So my BCM, yeah, that's fine. Let me see what we have on the BCM, just to see if there's anything there that can steering wheel module, left low beam, steering wheel module. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Steering wheel module. Still don't know why the engine, even if we had a steering wheel module problem, that could maybe affect the steering wheel angle, which obviously would affect the ESP. I'm not sure how that would affect actually the engine itself. It is a little bit odd, but we're gonna just keep that in our minds. Anti-block, so ABS. Let's see what the ABS ESP obviously. This probably is going to tell me that there is an issue with the engine and the ESP has been disabled somewhere along those lines, I'm guessing. And the percent, there we go. Invalid data received from electronic control module, power control module. So there is an issue with the engine, which is obviously affecting the torque, which in turn disables the ESP. So Now my problem is there, and we have 18 faults. That's a lot of faults. I don't even know where to start. So let's gonna do the continuous turbo codes. I'm guessing some of these faults are going to be repeated, or I'm sure the car is not throwing 18 faults all at once, but you never know. You never know. Okay, so wow, so low pressure fuel system, turbocharger barometric pressure, fuel rail pressure, turbocharger under boost, brake assist vacuum too low, brake booster, Jesus Christ, sensor reference voltage, neutral position, turbocharger, grill shutter, low pressure fuel system, low pressure fuel. Wow. Anything else? Man, what the heck's going on with this? This is really strange. So, first thing we're going to do, as you can imagine, I'm going to ignore all of this. And what we're going to do is engine off, key on. Okay, so one code came back straight away. So we have a permanent code, which is actually a good thing, to be honest with you. If we do have a permanent code. So, okay. Oh, 11 faults. Was 1 or 11? Did I look at it wrong? Okay, and we get all of this without even start the engine. Just key on, as you've seen. I deleted the codes, cycle the ignition, 11 codes comes back, and look at that. Surely it cannot be a coincidence that all these codes come back. So I'm most likely to believe we have an issue somewhere that is causing all these codes. So let's gonna try to find out what it is. Okay, and as you can imagine, guys, I don't have a clue where to start. Just gonna start randomly looking at stuff. This is a tight cover. Gee, man. Okay, so there's nothing really pointing me on into any direction based on fault codes. However, I just want to do a quick visual inspection. I start to see things that are not where they should be. This is not right here. Cable ties underneath. Okay. Okay. So everything's a little bit messed up around here. Like, you know, this car has been touched, obviously. Okay, so as I was saying, there's really nothing here. Nothing has been. Why? Look, something like it really amazes me. Look, this. Why has this not been put in there where it belongs? Honestly, simple things like this. That's really frustrating. Right, I'm not really sure. As I said, it looks like it's going to be a common issue causing all these problems. So we could have maybe have a inspect this crap. Okay, let me think. Okay, and before I move any forward, I thought it would be wise to come and check live data, see if there's anything that would stand out, so we can start to move into a certain direction. Because I don't want, as you've seen, there's a lot of components reporting a fault, or reporting a fault, and I don't believe all those components are faulty. So this to me looks like there is something wrong that is causing all these other components to fail, and live data could give us a good indication. And I actually already found something. So what I wanted to look at, it might be that there's other stuff, but the first thing that stands out was this. So I wanted to look at my barometric pressure. So we have 102 kilopascals, which is about 1,000 millibars, which is correct. Ambient pressure. And now when I came down and I get to my manifold pressure, which obviously the engine is off, as you can see. So my pressure inside the manifold should be the same as the pressure outside. So 102 kilopascals, somewhere around there. And look what my pressure does on here. It's jumping all over the place, including that voltage. Look at that voltage. So this is the first thing that stands out to me, and it doesn't sound right, definitely. Measured, is that correct? I haven't even looked at that one. Measured boost at throttle inlet pressure sensor, 232 kilopascals. About 2,000 millibars. That can't be right. So yeah, this is the first thing that really jumped out, is these values here. Look, now it's at 20. You see, and as you've seen earlier, it goes up to 40 odd something. It just doesn't look. It's something's not right. So that, I think, is what I'm going to focus first. Just a good visual inspection around this, see what we can find. So let's gonna do it. Okay, and it looks like this is going to be one of those intermittent faults. They are the worst, or they can be the worst. And this, it looks like, so far, it looks like it's going to be a challenge. So, based on those readings of the map pressure sensor that we're having, I came here. These were the first thing I started to focus on. Just make sure, check connections, check the wire around. As I showed you earlier, everything's a mess. This engine either has been removed or has been replaced, because I think there's not a single cable that's where it should be. Everything is just hanging around. It's an absolutely mess. But as I was here, so I unplugged the sensor. The reading goes up to about 255 kilopascals, and then you plug it back in, the same readings again. Then I was just here, just checking around, and all of a sudden I've heard a clicking noise. I believe it was the throttle body, and all these sort of humming noises. And I thought, what the heck's going on? When I looked at the tool, my reading was back to normal, as it is now. And that brake boost pressure sensor is always reading that, unless I unplug it. Even with the car running, it still reads minus 100, so not really sure about that. And at the same time, I went back to my live data, and I've seen some other stuff that is now working. And I don't know if I captured this when I checked the live data previously. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to see the car with the same faults again, and I should be able to go through the live data and show you. But one of the things is this accelerator pedal. One of these positions, I believe was the D, but I might be wrong. I think it was the D that was not reading. It was reading 0, and now they all reading okay. Also, there's another thing that was not working, which was the neutral. Was the neutral thingy? I've actually checked that So this neutral now says active, because the car is obviously in neutral. But and now I'm going to show you, if I engage a gear, it says inactive. Any gear says inactive. If I put neutral, it just says neutral active. Before, I can't remember exactly what it was saying. It might be that you can see back on the live data, but this was definitely not working. And this was the bit that could really just sort of stand out quickly. It looks like we have an issue with the external temperature sensor. This in-car temperature 91 degrees, I'm not really sure what this is referring to, because it doesn't sound right. But that external temperature from sensor -40, it actually shows in there -40, but that could be just the sensor, could be something unplugged. As I said, this car has been a little bit messed with. And another thing that I've started to look at, obviously the only faults we have now, by the way, guys, if you remember, all those faults pretty much the same as the initial faults, they came back. And now we have, if this is not going to fail me, we have 3 faults. We have a fault for that little pump right there at the back, which is the coolant recirculation pump. There's a fault with that. And there is 2 other faults, which is for the airflow meter that's there on the floor because it's disconnected. But all the other faults are gone. So the car is pretty much fault free, let's say. So it should running just fine. There it is, you see. So we have the air intake temperature, which I believe is part of the, don't know why it says pending though. And we have the recirculation valve, the bypass valve, and we have the, both for temperature, air, temperature sensor circuit, intake, air, just for the temperature. So it doesn't say nothing about the airflow, but surely this is a 4-wire, it's a 4-wire, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's a 6 pins, but only 4 are populated, as you can see. So this is going to be this is going to be the airflow meter and air temperature sensor. And maybe the temperature, maybe the airflow meter will come on when I start the engine. But that's all the faults. So all the other faults, as you've seen, they are now gone. So it's definitely something that is causing all those systems to fail. Now I've been here wiggling and wiggling and wiggling these looms. The loom was already like this. So you see there. So all these wires, everything is just hanging off. Okay. And this ECU, this box, the security bolts have been already cut through, so definitely this has been out at some point. But I've been wiggling and wiggling this, try to replicate the fault, and I can't do it. I've been under the car already. Sorry about that, was just to cover the number plate. But as I was saying, I've been under the car, tried to look around, everything looks, messed up a little bit, but okay-ish. I was trying to get to the ECU itself, I want to check it. But unfortunately, I don't have the wheel locking key. Already phoned the owner. Hopefully, he reckons he has it. So, don't know why he drives the car without the wheel locking, but whatever. But yeah, so at the moment, guys, I really don't have a clue what's wrong. And I think I'm just going to try to carry on wiggling, see if it could have been that now I've touched something and I put it completely out of the way. And it's not going to do it again. Maybe I'll move the wires. I might begin to actually expose that little bit of loom there, which is the bit that looks a little bit more messed up, and see if there's anything in there. But at the moment, I honestly don't know. Don't have a clue. And as I said, these intermittent problems, they can be the worst. And I just thought it might be worth to mention that this is the result of when you do this one, which activates pretty much every single stuff on the car to look for any faults. And as you've seen, that's pretty much the same faults, so nothing really changed in there. I just thought it would be worth to mention. Okay, and the guy finally brought me the locking key, and as you can see, this has been already work done. Okay, so yeah, it might mean something, it might mean nothing. That's how this is me that pull it out, but he was here just hanging off. I'll just pull it out, try to check. He's all taped. I might take that tape, don't know yet. But I'll redo all of that. But yeah, let's go and open this and see what we find. Okay, clear signs that this ECU has been open. The reason why, I don't know, and I'm not really sure. Will it be something inside this ECU? Oh man, it's gonna be... Oh. Let's unplug it maybe, and try to see what we have here. Don't know. I really don't know. Okay, and we're gonna open this U. I already kind of started, so we are gonna try to see if we can figure out why this was open. I don't know, but we're gonna open it, see if there's anything inside. But after seeing this, I think I might say it needs a ECU replacement. I don't know. It's an electrical failure, which is going to be very difficult to be software. It could be software though, but I don't know. One step at a time. Okay, and to start with, this thing, whoever did the work on this didn't do a very good job. The old silicon hasn't been cleaned, as you can see. It's still all around here and on the cover. So whoever did this just put a little bit of this black silicone. It's the same as I use, but he put it on top of the old stuff without ever cleaning. So literally I just surprised something underneath and it pops out straight away. So it was not very good. Luckily this ECU is protected inside that box. But guys, looking at the ECU quickly, I can't really see anything. There's no marks for soldering anywhere. There is, for this particular ECU, there's 3 soldering points, unless you use those needles to do the programming, which could have been that. I don't have those, but yet. But yeah, there's no marks of nothing being soldered or anything like that. With this ECU, it's just been open to check. I don't know. Either way, it was only the cover removed, because this side, to remove the entire ECU, you need now to take this side. There's no marks that this side has been out. So right now, guys, I'm not really sure. So that's it, guys. I've opened this ECU completely on both sides. Nothing looks... I mean, visually, there's nothing. I've been already with the microscope checking, especially soldering points, but the way the car was behaving, all those things failing at once, including the neutral. I need to see what's common to the map, accelerator pedal, and the neutral sensor. That's what I need to go and look at on the diagrams, and try to move from there, see what's common to all of that, and yeah, that's what we're going to do next. Okay, and after checking diagrams relatively extensively, there's nothing that is 100% shared across all the components that were giving errors. Obviously, components that require like 5 volts power supply internally on ECU, that might be common, but on the pins, it's not like if everything comes from one pin and then jumps across everything and is shared on the loom across components. No, every single one of those components goes straight into the ECU itself. Every single one of them, every pin, throttle, all the wires go straight into the ECU. All the other components that were failing or giving errors, everything goes straight into the ECU. Nothing is shared. If it is, it's shared internally. MED 17.2, obviously multi-layer ECU. I'm not too keen to mess about with this too much. So the most logical next step to me was obviously make a backup, which is happening as we speak. Making a backup of this, and then don't know. I really don't know what to do next. If I could 100% replicate the problem, obviously it was different, but I can't. I was not able to replicate the problem, so it doesn't look like it's a loom problem or a short problem. And because someone has been here already, or maybe someone was here and messed it up. We don't know. Look, I really don't know. Maybe this is tuned and is done wrong. I don't know. I really don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get a original map for this ECU, just in case if this one is not the original, and I don't know, and I think I'll go from there. I don't know. I'm still thinking how I'm going to do all of this. Okay, back into this. I was actually to show you something, but I want to show you something else first because it makes more sense. So let me see if he's still doing it, because now guys was doing it all the time, which was good. Yeah, so he's doing it all the time, so that's there ready. Now if I try to clear the codes, all these codes come back straight away, and in a minute, if he does what he was doing, he's going to start to run really erratically, then he's going to shut off. Let me see if it does it. Now I know he says for me to cycle the ignition or whatever. I can literally just turn the ignition on, clear all these codes, and the codes come back, all of them, every single one of them. They just don't go away. See, every single one of them. And yeah, every now and then the car shuts off actually. So the accelerator stops responding, because if you remember, one of the signals, guys, just goes missing from the pedal, if you remember me showing you that. If I recall correctly, I haven't worked with this for so long, so if I go and I get my accelerator pedal, you're gonna see that one of the values is missing. I'm pretty sure it's E that is missing. It was actually D. I thought it was E. It's actually D that is missing. As you can see, when I accelerate, everything works except D. Okay, and as I said, or as I showed you, if I try to clear the codes, the car kind of goes, if I don't switch it off, the revs kind of go all over the place, but all the codes come back. So this is better for me to try to find out the problem. But the problem is, the only thing I've done differently, or the only thing I've done since I've showed you the last clip, after backing up the ECU, actually there's one thing I'm running with it disconnected, and I think, yeah, I was trying to see if this was a high voltage problem. Actually, silly me, let me reconnect this. I have actually, do I have the, come on, is not the battery light on? Should be on. Yeah, it is on. Let me reconnect this. And start charging again. That was my bad. Oh. Let me see if it does the same. It should do the same because we're doing the same. Doesn't matter what. Yeah, so everything comes back on, but sometimes it comes different. Yeah, sometimes it comes different codes or extra codes. A little bit weird. But as I was saying, oh, let me go back and try to actually do something here. only thing I've done between the last clip that I've showed you when I made a backup of the ECU and now was that I've opened the ECU. So it just clicked. Could I have a what we call sometimes dry solder points, or a bad solder point somewhere? And because I split the ECU completely, as you've seen, and to split the other bit, the ECU from this side, you kind of need to bend a little bit the PCB. There's no other way, because it's glued and you really need to force it. So I was just thinking, could it be that is something like that? So my next step is going to be do a reflow to the processor and all the SMD components around, and then put it back on. And because he's doing it all the time now, it's actually a good test. I'll do it quickly and then we'll put it back in and we'll see what happens. Okay, and pretty much finishing. That should be okay, I think. So let's turn it around and give it a go on the other side and see what happens. Okay, let's gonna give it a go and see what happens. Okay, let's gonna start it up, and it's getting dark now. I don't think I'm gonna record much more today. Okay. Ah, damn it. Still the same crap, I think. Yep, exactly the same crap. So, it might not be the ECU then. Yeah, there's no response from the accelerator. We're still the same. What could be doing this? Oh man, what could be doing this? Okay, so quick note that I found. What I found is, so the pedal, the accelerator pedal, is basically two sensors in one, and I should have at least 2 times 5 volts come into it, and I do have indeed on one of the pins, I do have 5 volts, but then the other pin that should have 5 volts, I have that. So it's about 2.6, 2.7, and look what I have. What's the voltage to my map sensor as well. How am I going to do this? Let me put, sorry guys, let me put this into there. Get ground from there, and now, oh Jesus, so look how much I have. Well, I should have my 5 volts. Look what I have, 2.5, 2.4, so there is a 5 volts. Yeah, that's my signal. That's gonna be my ground. Yeah, so there is basically 5 volts reference missing from the inside of the ECU. It's my only explanation, and I could start to try to unplug stuff that uses 5 volts to see if there is something that is shorting the 5 volts, but so the pedal is disconnected. If I unplug the map sensor, which I already have the car running with the map sensor disconnected, makes no difference, so I still have 2.4, 2.5, somewhere the same. If I disconnect the neutral sensor, which I'm guessing is going to use 5 volts as well, same thing. So it's disconnected. I still get my 2.5 volts. So I disconnect one of the sensors. I think this is the intake camshaft sensor. Where is the other one? It's back here. See if I can disconnect the other one. If I disconnect the intake, nothing changes. The exhaust, sorry. Oh, come on. Yeah, pretty much the same. Oh, come on. Now I can't plug it. Let me unplug that back in. Okay, and this has to be a ECU problem. So now, after disconnecting that one, I reconnected it, looked a little bit around. For some reason, I came here to measure my voltage again, and I was reading 0.7. And then I thought, let me see if the one inside the car on the accelerator pedal also dropped. 0.7 volts. Look at that. So these voltage dropped here on the pedal, and I'm going to show you now in there. I do also have the 0.7. So if I back probe this wire here, and I go on the chassis, there we go. Look at that. Wiring diagrams, I think I already mentioned, show me these wires. They go straight inside the ECU. They don't show being shared anywhere. Obviously, going to be shared with other components, but is not like spliced on the wiring loom. Everything's inside the ECU, and yeah. So let me go inside the ECU. Let me follow these wires and see. I don't know if we see anything wrong in there. Okay. Wow. My missus is correct. I really need an haircut. I really need an haircut. Right, guys. So yesterday, the last clip you've seen was yesterday. So yesterday I've done another about 10 minutes recording, which I literally just deleted it because at the moment I don't have wiring diagrams. There is an issue with the wiring diagrams. Yes, I could try to go and find them out, but I don't have wiring diagrams. And although some of you probably don't mind to see me struggling and doing mistakes and going the wrong way, and then I have to come back and start to investigate a different path, then come back and a different path. And basically that was what those 10 minutes were yesterday. Some of you don't mind. Some people think I should know everything before I start to do a job. No one does. And if someone says he does know everything and he knows exactly where to go when he has an issue, he's full of it. I'm definitely don't know everything. I don't know anything, to be honest. I just investigate and I try to find problems. That's all I do. So the footage yesterday was a little bit all over the place, so I decided to delete it. And what I've done without diagrams, I just went the old way and I followed the wiring from the pins to the ECU plug at the end of the loom, and I tried to figure out which pin is which. And now that I have that information, I'm going to take you through what I think the problem is and how far did I got. Okay, so what I've done yesterday then was I tracked down the pins I was looking for, and they are marked here. I don't know if you can see on the camera these black sort of surrounding around these pins. What I do usually is with a marker, I just press down like around the pin, and that helps marks down the pins I need to look at. So I've done it like this, and basically these two pins here on this side, which is pin 46 and 53, are going to be the two tracks, the two voltage references for my accelerator pedal. So for sensor 1 and sensor 2. If you remember, one of the sensors was giving initially was 2.6 volts, and then we messed around a little bit more and it went down to 0.7 if I recall correctly, which was coincident with the same voltage we had on our map sensor, which is pin is on here, and is pin 22 on these different plugs. As you can see, this is one plug, that's another plug. It's pin 22, and that was coincident with the voltage on one with the voltage reference on one of the tracks for the pedal. And we're going to just prove that here, because when I connect that to this pin here, we have a direct connection. So the voltage reference that comes for this pin for the accelerator pedal is the same voltage reference that comes from my map sensor, okay, as we measured yesterday. Then we have a different track that's here, but it is not for the map sensor, but we'll get to that in a second. All of this traces back to this power IC. This is basically an IC, a chip that steps down the 12 or 14 volts, whatever the ECU is getting, and brings it down to 5 volts. And from here, it powers different components, not just 5 volts, it powers other components, and not just the 5 volts. There's also 12 volts outputs for different components, but it's basically an IC that controls all those voltage. And I was able to trace this down, at least these two voltage reference. I traced them down to pin 10 and 11 on this IC. So this IC has this little corner here that is kind of chamfered, so that's going to be pin 1 here, and then when you come back and you check it, it's pin 10 and 11. And I'm just going to show you that. I don't know which one is first. So is that going to be that one? Okay, so that's 11. So the track that was giving the 5 volts okay is pin 10. It comes to here. And then the one which is straight after, I know I'm not measuring on the pin, but I already know where this comes to. That's going to be my pin there for the other track. Okay, and if I go back, is the same pin that comes to my map sensor. Okay, can you see that? There we go. Now, if I power the ECU, let me change this to voltage. I'm going to power the ECU now. I'm going to give it 14 volts. When I give 14 volts to the power supply, the ECU is taking about 0.25, 0.30 amps. So there's nothing connected to the ECU, so obviously it's not going to take a lot of power. But what I wanted to look at, so let me see, I think this is the ground here. Let me just double check. Yeah, so that's correct. So the ground is these pins here, and you can double check that if I turn around. So most of multimeters, they do this, they do the measurement, but when you have the probes the other way around, they put a minus between the numbers. Sure, I'm not before the reading. Sure, I'm not teaching you nothing at this point, but so yeah, so that's my ground here. So if I go to the first track, sorry, to this track here, I have 5 volts. And look, interestingly, oh come on, I have 5 volts on the other track, and if I come to my map sensor, oh, I'm not showing you, am I? I'm not showing you nothing. Oh, damn it. Right, so let's gonna do this again. This is what I was what I was talking about, doing mistakes. So, as I was saying, when you measure, so 13 volts, if I swap the probes around, the measurement takes the same measurement with a minus before the reading, okay? So you can know the orientation of your probes. So as I was saying, so if I measure now the voltage on this pin here, for one of the accelerator pedals, I have the 5 volts voltage reference. Now when I measure on the other one, I do have the 5 volts reference. And if I come to my map sensor here, I have my 5 volts reference. So why do I not have my 5 volts reference when the ECU is plugged in? Unless this chip is failing. Sometimes it's failing, and not always gets down to that weird voltage. But what I can show you is, I'm going to disconnect the ECU. And what I'm going to show you is that this voltage reference from this chip, from this power IC, so there you go. So I'm measuring it to this pin. This voltage reference is shared across all the pins, all the components. Look, So that one is a easy way to find pins that are shared. Okay, it's shared with this pin here. It's shared with this pin here. Okay, and it's shared with this pin on the right of the map sensor, and the two pins on the, sorry, this left pin on the from the map sensor, and on the two right pins on the right, on the two pins on the right of the map sensor. There we go. So now either we have some of these components that are connected to the same voltage reference. Either we have a component here that is failing and is shutting this ECU down, or is shutting this rail down, or we have a component that is failing and every now and then it cuts down that voltage. So one of the two. Now without diagrams it's going to be tricky to find out what these pins do, but the first thing I want to do is see which pins are populated, and so we can narrow down our investigation. So that's what I'm going to do, and we'll go from there. Okay, and I got my cotton bud and my alcohol to clean the ones that were not populated. Unfortunately, they are all populated. So I'm just going to start to trace back what they are for. Again, guys, you can... I'm not going to record this because obviously these would be really easy if I had diagrams. Unfortunately, I really don't. So I'm going to have to try to go the old way. I'm going to guess some of these sensors, some of these might go to the neutral sensors because it's giving us faults. And we have that other sensor, which is the vacuum something. I believe it is a sensor for that as well. There is a code for that as well. Guys, I'm just going to try to investigate these without diagrams, which is not ideal, but we'll see how quick and how far I can get this way. Okay, and I found, so one goes for my neutral sensor, but I had already the car with the neutral sensor disconnected, and I still get the same problem with the ECU plugged in. So I don't think it's my neutral sensor that is causing the issue. So I'm going to see which other pins, if it's just one power supply for the one voltage reference for the neutral sensor, if there's another one. So for now I'm going to try it. So that pin is that pin right there at the back. This one here, the last one on the further row. So I'm going to ignore that pin for now. I don't think that's going to be the issue. Okay, so I figured out a couple of few pins. So that pin right there, I put an N, that's for the neutral sensor. And then this second pin there, if I put VS, that's for the vacuum sensor, for the brake booster. Okay, and then I start to think, did I ever try to run the car with that vacuum sensor disconnected? And I could not recall. So I thought to myself, maybe let's gonna give it a go. So I haven't figured out yet the other three pins around the map sensor, but because I could not recall if I ever tried to run the car with that thing disconnected, I'm just going to give it a go. Plus, if I recall correctly, it was something weird on live data for that sensor. So, might worth a try. Just going to give it a go. Okay, I've just started the car. The car is running fine. We just started the car from cold, so the revs are a little bit higher. But we're just going to prove the concept. Just going to back probe my map sensor. There we go, perfect. Now actually, let's gonna do something here. Hold on a second. Okay, so 5 volts, as you can see there. Actually, let me move this maybe to here, so where you're gonna be able to see it. I'll then point the phone to it. Don't worry about. Come on, like so. So I'm back probing there, and I'm back probing the sensor, and we have a 5 volts reading. Now let's gonna plug that sensor back in, the vacuum sensor. unfortunately everything's still good. So looks like it might not be my sensor. Okay, I thought I was getting somewhere, but looks like I'm not. But the problem now is I plugged everything back in and the car is good, so it's not doing anymore. Man, this is so weird. What's happening with this car? Yeah, the car is good. Accelerator is going to be working okay. Of course it's going to be working. Will this be it related, something that is failing? So I need to check what those other 3 wires are for and try to see if it could be some other component. Never this car that could be the issue itself, but we don't know yet. Okay, let me see if I can clear the codes today without much of a fuss. Like yesterday, I just couldn't do it. So let's read the codes for the PCM. So there we go, 3 codes: brake booster, prancer, brake assist, vacuum. Okay, so that was the sensor disconnected, and the coolant. I don't care about that coolant, to be honest with you. So let's clear these codes. Look at that. What? Nothing. So only one code came back, and what you might have seen as well is that when I cleared the codes, the car didn't went all over the place. Before, when I was clearing the codes, the car was just shaking all over the place, and sometimes would shut down, but it's running absolutely perfect now. So what can be causing this? Is that it is something that is warming up and it starts to fail? What the heck's going on? I'm definitely gonna have to track the other three pins, see what they feed, what they are for, because it might be that is one of those components. We'll have to investigate a little bit more. Okay, and I felt something. I think is back. There we go. There we go. And it's gone. Right. Now, it's definitely eating related. It's definitely eating related. So, let me see what could it be. So first of all, I'm going to unplug that 12 volts recirculation valve, whatever that is, coolant valve, just in case if it's that is somehow messing up the ECU. So that's disconnected. The valve leaves right there at the bottom. So I've disconnected it. We have 4.76 volts in there. Let's restart, see what happens. And then oh, he's running bad. Yeah. And he's going to shut down again. Yeah, just shut off. Okay. Wow, what a nightmare. Interesting to see. Look where my voltage is now. Fluctuating all over the place. Look at that. So, okay, so let me actually do something here. Okay, problem found. Wow. So after unplugging pretty much everything I could think of, the only thing I didn't unplug because I couldn't get to, unless I take it off, is the throttle body, because the plug is right at the back behind. You can't really get to it. At the moment I'm still clamped here on the ground. Okay, clamp it there, and I'm still probing the 5 volts there, and as you can see we have steady 5 volts. Now look at this. Watch when I come on. Oh, 5 volts are gone. 5 volts are back. 5 volts are gone. Back, gone, back, gone, back, gone. Hey. So found the issue. What is shutting down this 5 volts voltage reference is, let me show you what it is, oh, I'm gonna have to get under the car to show you this, and I'm gonna have to go and unplug everything back in, all the stuff I unplugged. So is this sensor right there. Right there. Can you see it? So that's some sort of a boost and temperature sensor, I think. And that's what is defective. So it's a really good feeling to find out the problem. And looking back, I could have probably make this way quicker if I would have just went and do this first. But guys, I think sometimes the importance is that you get to it, and yeah. So we're gonna take that sensor wherever that is out, figure out what it is, try to get a new one, and I'm definitely gonna tie wrap things a little bit better because everything's a little bit of a mess. I don't know if this engine has been replaced or if it's been out for some reason, but yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to take that sensor out, and guys, I can't believe that was why I was shorting the thing down. Wow. Okay, yes, I know, but the screw was so rusty, I didn't want to risk try to take it without the socket proper put in, and still the bloody thing just snapped. But where's the head of the bolt? I don't even know. It's gone somewhere. Doesn't really matter. The sensor is here, so it's that one in there. Is a 0261 230 and I'm gonna have to find a way either to take that off or to, I don't know. I really don't know, because from here I'll have to remove a lot of more stuff if I really want to try to drill that out. Right, let me think. Okay, and I'm actually managing to turn these using some pliers, which is not bad. On. Nearly there. Oh, beautiful. Ah, there we go. Okay, so now we're going to put the new sensor. Now, before some of you are going to go, wait, you could still have a wiring problem. Guys, of course I checked the wiring, but just think about it. If it was a wiring problem, most likely I would still have the issue even with the sensor disconnected. Could be probably a couple instances where only connecting the sensor with a wiring problem, the problem would manifest itself. But of course I checked the wiring. The sensor, I don't know. I don't know. The part number is, well, is here. One of these are going to be the part numbers, I think. Or he's on the other side. No, he's on the other side. Yeah, I think this is the number 9F474AA. But it shouldn't be EL8A. It should be something else. Let's actually check in there. So the part number of the sensor itself from Bosch has been superseded. So the other one is 281 at the end, and the one at the bottom, oh, it actually been changed as well. So the original sensor, as you can see there, is 0261 230 281, and then the Ford number is BV61 9F479AA, and as you can see, Bosch number at the top changed, and actually Ford number at the bottom also changed to EL. Let's open this. Why I haven't done this straight away. So there we go. So you can see the difference on the part numbers. You can pause and take the numbers if you need. So now we're gonna get a new screw for that, and install the new sensor. That's it. And reassemble the car and go for a test. Make sure it drives okay. Okay, this here is plugged in again. The sensor is obviously back in place now, as you can see there. Okay, and I'm still probe this. We're just gonna give it a quick test, and there we go. Okay, let's gonna start the car, leave it to idle and see what happens. But I'm quite confident that we fixed the problem. There he is. We have accelerator. Yeah. Let's check our voltage. Beautiful. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to carry on assembling the car. While I'm doing this, let it warm up, and then if nothing happens, we'll go for a test drive and hopefully wrap up this video, because it's about time. Okay, and I had the car here running for a good half an hour. It was absolutely perfect, so I started to put everything back together, and now I'm going to quickly close this U. It's been all cleaned, as you can see. What a mess this was. So we're going to put a little bit of thermal paste in these areas here, and then we're going to close this U. That's it. And yeah, it's looking good so far. Okay, all done. The car is all assembled and we are ready to go for a test drive. And while we have some daylight, and then I will organize all of this when I get back home. But for now, let's just close the bonnet. That's it. Take these off. There we go. And now, let's go. Let me take this light from my head. Oh, I'm gonna take these with me, and I'm gonna take that. We're gonna clear the codes on the car. Obviously, we know about that pump. I don't think that's gonna be the issue. I will speak with the owner later if he wants to do anything about it, but that's it for now. Just curiosity, guys, the sensor costed me £23. It's in there. There is used sensors on eBay more expensive than a brand new genuine sensor, so always do your research. There's always worth to ring the dealer. Sometimes you never know. So now let's gonna go for a drive and see what happens. Okay, clear the codes. Had a poor contact on that light bulb, so if I clear all the codes now, I just took the light off and cleaned it, so that should now get rid of that code as well for the dipped beam. There we go. So we have one code which is for that bypass valve for the coolant. But let's go for a drive and see what happens. Okay, I think I'm ready, and let's go. Right, I really need to organize that garage. It's an absolute mess. Okay, I'm gonna have to maneuver a little bit. Ooh, these brakes are sharp. So, let's go. Hey, one light came on. He needs juice. Okay guys, and he's driving absolutely perfect, no issues at all, and I'm gonna drive back home because the fuel just went from 70 odd miles to about 20, and I don't want to run out. But guys, he's driving absolutely perfect, no problems at all. I have no reasons to believe the car is not fixed. And in the end, as you guys seen, was just that one component that was obviously forcing the ECU to drop down that 5 volts voltage reference. Yeah, we did some mistakes, some checks that we didn't have to. The fact that I got to this ECU and this ECU was already on that state with the signs off being open, not very well closed, you know, it started to make me wonder. We changed a little bit the wrong thing in there, but hey, look in the positive side. I have now a backup for this ECU, which I was not being able to find, or I was struggling to find, because at some point I thought about just reflash the ECU. Maybe the software would have been manipulated and it was not okay or something like that. Why someone was on the ECU, why the ECU was opened, who knows? I don't have a clue why. I don't know the background of the car. But guys, I think the important thing, and hopefully if you watch the video completely, I think I haven't really done nothing that was a huge mistake or anything like that. So, and we got there in the end with a 23 pounds part. We got the car fixed, and that's it. With no further ado, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. I do hope that you might have learned something. Maybe you learned something. If you do still have any questions or any comments, you guys know exactly how it works. Just put them right below, and like always, thanks for watching.